Hello, hello, and welcome to P6-Excel webinar by Global Project Control. I'm glad to present you this webinar. In this webinar, we will talk about the outline of webinar. I want to introduce the P6-Excel course. Then we go through the lesson 1 content. So this is P6-Excel course. By this P6-Excel course, you will find out some advanced feature of Primavera P6 by connecting Primavera P6 to the Excel. All the things is happen on the P6 spreadsheet. By this function, you will find out how you can do the import, export, and update all the information for your project. And you will find out how you can connect the bulk of activity to the WBS in a Primavera P6. And you will find out how you can create and introduce the activity code to the Primavera P6 project, and how you can assign it to your project. Then we go through the budget updating and leveling. And after that, we go through the earned value, how earned value works in Primavera P6. Then we go through the create an S-curve and try to track the change by some features. And after that, we create a pivot dashboard by Primavera P6 information. This session is totally include 9 hours. It's designed for 6 sessions, 6 lessons. And if you join, you can find out we arrange 6 lessons for you, and you will find out some practice file. After the course, you will receive the certificate. All the sessions will be recorded by Zoom software. We use Primavera P6 version 90.12, and if you like to join this session, please send me a text. I will share my WhatsApp direct in the chat. So if you want to talk with me over this, you can chat with me over WhatsApp and enroll for this course. The session starts by import project information. We try to implement the project, include activity ID and some other information, activity name, original duration, to the Primavera P6, and then we try to assign the bulk of activity to the WBS. If you continue this course with us, we will try to change all the activity ID fully in all the project. You know that you can change the activity ID like this. You can select 12 activity ID, for instance, then go to the renumbering of activity ID and right click, go to the renumbering of activity ID, and you have 3 options over here. But if you want to renumbering all of activity ID in your project, it is not works for you because each of discipline and each of section in the P6, as you see, have a special numbering system. This activity ID in the middle have MA, but this one have ME. So we cannot use renumbering for all of them in the same time. But by that trick, you can do the renumbering for all of your activity ID in your project. But be careful. Each time you want to update your activity ID, it means that you disconnect your baseline completely. So this function helpful in the initiation part of project. If you want to use this option in the middle of project, you should be careful because if your baseline is not connected to your project, you will lose some of information in your baseline. So each update should be recorded and applied to the baseline later. Then we go through the import budgeted unit. Import and adjustment of budgeted unit for multiple resource loaded project is one of headache for all of planners. So if you go through the project with more than one resources, every project has more than one resources. So if you want to update all of these budgeted unit each time, you should, after you go through the status and record the update, you go through the resources and wants to update the progress for each of these resources. So if you cannot update it by a spreadsheet, you should update it manually for each of them. It is one of the headache of planner and a scheduler. So if you like to learn this, be with us. We will discuss it in a detail. About next topic is how you can go through the update. Some special consideration you need to know that when you want to go through the update. When you open the file, go to the export and use the spreadsheet. You should update for activity and resource assignment. Each time you want to do the update, you should consider some special consideration for these two updates. The first update is related to the activity. The second one is related to the resource assignment. So be careful. If you want to use this update, you should limit yourself for only necessary field, because when you work with these items, it means that you work directly with your project database. And if you face it with error, it means that maybe you will lose your project information. So every time before do the update, you need to create a backup from your project. It is necessary. It is not advice or should, it is must. And you need to update all these fields. We will discuss how this field updating works for you in a detail. And as a result of that, you can update your project with 100% accuracy and in a minimum time. Why I told you it's 100% accuracy? Because before you import the update, you can calculate the progress in Excel. So this means that if you face it with some error, you will find out it on the Excel. It's not imported. You don't need to import it to the P6, then go through the find out the solution, how you should remove it or how you need to update it. The next item is update relationship. Relationship update is working on a Primavera P6, but there is some consideration. You should use it for removing out of sequence activity. We have several solutions for out of sequence activity, but by this, you can remove all the out of sequence activity instantly. So if you like to use this item, you need to join to us and find out how you can remove the out of sequence activities. This is the extract of relationship database. My friend, could you please mute your microphone? And if you want to update it, there is some consideration. You can update it. As you see, you can find out what's your lag assigned to your project and what is the relationship, which activity connected to the which one, and what is the relationship type, what is the predecessor, what is the successor. Also, all the field is, you can customize what field you want to extract from Primavera P6. So all the things at your hand, you need to only learn that how it works properly and how you can do the update. The next item we discuss is update and maintain baseline for duration and relationship. You know that update baseline works in a full SQL and Oracle database. If you record your baseline, then you press the update setting. Over here, you have the update option. By update option, you can select which field you want to update. Then after this, you can see the log and update your project. Also, you can use this option for add new activity to your project, add a new activity and activity data except actual to your project. You can use this rule for all of the projects, or you can use this rule for filtration. All the filtration for activities available over here. You can use it, or you can use this for delete from baseline. My activity no longer is in the current project, but be careful because this is baseline. Baseline is very critical and you should prepare a backup for yourself if you want to try it. But by some consideration, you can use these tools and, for instance, update the duration and relationship for baseline activity. You can load the budget based on your updated project into baseline for not started activity and some other sort of option which is available over here. We will discuss it in a detail in the course. Everyone know that the resource limit is related to the calendar. We try to show you how resource limit could be changed in the course, how the leveling works in a Primavera P6 with all of the options, what is the difference between activity calendar and resource calendar. It's very important when you have, for instance, resource dependent activity in your project, because if you understand how resource dependent activity works in your project, it is very important for you, because resource dependent activity, instead of activity task dependent activity, works based on a resource availability. So it is a little bit complex to understand how it works. Everything connected to the task-dependent activity in our point of view, but if you select the resource-dependent activity at your project, it means that everything for that activity related to your resources. The next part of this course is analyze and reporting. We go through the reporting and we try to create and update the EPC S-curve and EPC. EPC means project, and each phase of project individually. We try to create a template for project S-curve, and you can instantly, by run the simple report like this, you can instantly update this because we try to work like templating. We create a template for the project, and as a result of that, each time if you connect this template to your S-curve, you can update the S-curve instantly. Every planner, at least for every weekly and monthly report, need to update many S-curves. So by this option, you can update your S-curve instantly equal to P6. Then I will show you how one advanced global change is related to remove actual from updated project. Some of the time it is very useful for us because we face it with some error on a project and we should remove the actual from project. Then we go through the track relationship changes in the project. If you receive the project from your subcontractor and you want to know that what is the difference between this project and the previous issue of the project from your subcontractor, you need to know that what's the track of change. I will show you how you can track the changes and you find out how you will mark the changes activity. You can track the change based on activity in a relationship, in a scope, and by lead, by lag, by everything you want. You can mark it by everything related to the scope, related to the relationship, related to the relationship type. Everything is possible. You need to only understanding how this database is worked and how you can use this database. Then we try to create a recovery schedule. By this recovery schedule, you can generate the S-curve for these items, and you can estimate your remaining works in your project. Then we go through the earned value calculation in a P6. It is fundamental information for earned value calculation. We discuss it in a detail. We create U4 sample for this earned value. Let me to open it. We create 4 situations in a project. This situation is applicable in a Primavera P6. If you go through the WBS, then in the earned value tab, you will find out 4 situations is available over here. If I want to use optimistic for performance factor equal to 1, realistic for performance factor equal to 1 divided to cost performance index. Pessimistic for performance factor equal to 1 divided to cost performance index multiplied to schedule performance index, And expert judgment, it means that we want to guess that how it's worked. So as you see, it's completely discussed with detail how this performance factor affected to our error value and how estimate to complete formula works in Primavera P6. You know that you can use estimate to complete formula for remaining cost for activity, or you can use it by formula estimate to complete is equal to performance factor multiplied to budgeted completion minus to earn value. So this is the variable in performance factor. You can update your formula by performance factor and find out what is the result. Then I will show you how you can calculate and find the lag in your project. You know that lag is not in the first level of information in the project. You can find the lag in a relationship tab in a Primavera P6. You cannot touch the lag directly in a column. So the only solution is use the report. I will show you how you can generate the lag report. And by easiest report, you can run it and you will find out how much lag you have in your project instantly. It is very useful when you receive some XPR file, for instance, from your subcontractor, from your colleagues, and your previous comment is related to remove or decrease the lag. You will find out how it works in the Primavera P6, and you can find it instead of looking one by one in the steps and tracking by activity. You can run the report and you will find out how it works. And the result of this course is generate the interactive dashboard report by activity code. If you implement the activity code correctly at your project, it means that you can generate the dashboard directly with Primavera P6 information. You have two great information in your Primavera P6. The first one is available over here in a activity usage profile, and the next one is available on the resource assignment. So each time you want to generate the dashboard, you should use these two items. I will show you how you can use these two items. And let me to open the file. This is interactive dashboard, which you can generate by Primavera P6. If you use the filtration, every field updated based on your filtration, this dashboard generates by P6 information directly, and you don't need to update anything or use a calculation over here. It's completely related to the P6 information. It's a copy of the activity usage profile information. I will show you how you can generate your own dashboard, and you can use the field to create these items. As a result of this, you can find out, for instance, in a procurement, I have a variant. This is electrical discipline. All the information right now is related to my electrical. Right now, all the information is supposed to be on HVAC, on a mechanical, on a machinery. You can do the filtration for all information. Find out what is the CPI and SPI in this discipline. And also, you can generate your dashboard and use the filtration based on the time. For SPI, CPI, and free float, maybe you need to use another things also, because these two items is highly dependent on the time. So if you want to use the filtration for time, you can create another slicer for timeline, and you can use this to create this dashboard. By this dashboard, you can track any delay for your project. And this dashboard is very easy update. You only need to extract the information from P6 and do the copy paste over here. So don't worry for update and creation. It is very easy dashboard. Only I will show you how you should use the data and information. All the data is available. You only need to know that how you can use the data. The solution is how to use the data, but all the data is available. This is the first session of this webinar. Anyone has a question? Okay. But if you register for this webinar, you will receive an assignment. Assignment is this file, this Excel file. By this Excel file, we try to do the practice for each of function we discuss. And the first project is only include 23 activity, but the next one is a little bit complete, more activity, has more activity. The next one is bigger one, and the last one is good challenge because it includes 177 activities. So by this practice file, you will learn that how you can use the update by a spreadsheet. Instead of update manually, you will use this update by a spreadsheet, and that is help you to find out how a spreadsheet updating works. After each session, we will discuss for some of the assignments you should do it, but not by manually. You should use the assignment and do it by new features which related to the P6-Excel. You will learn that how you can use it. This Excel file includes all necessary information for create the project and updating. It is not take too much time. If you like to generate the project by this Excel file, but if the thing is when you learn that how you can use this Excel file by Primavera P6 a spreadsheet, then it is works for you during each update. Any questions? Okay. Okay, now it's worked properly. I have a project with 3 activities. Let me to rename the first one A, the second one B, and the third one is C. Each of these activities has 20-day duration. But right now, I want to close the extra information and go through this project 1 creation. Let me to close this file. Again, close this one. Close this one. This one. Okay. Let me to split the page with 2 sessions. This is the list of activities which I have over here with other information. This is the list of activity in the Primavera P6. If you want to create your project manually, you should use the insert button and create each of activity. Use the copies for activity name and paste this over here. And also you need to update the activity ID for this activity like this. But it is not good solution when you have a bulk of activity in the beginning of the project, or you need to verify something in your project. The other solution is you can use the spreadsheet by Primavera P6. You need to go to the export by a spreadsheet, then go to the activity, select the project, select one of these templates, doesn't matter, you can modify it. If you select only one field, by this subject area, you have 1 item. Then if you select more than 1 things, in the list box, you have more than 1 things. But these items are database. So be careful when you want to export this item, because each time you want to work with database, you should limit yourself into minimum of risk. But how if you reduce the items to the minimum? Then you will find out the risk of working with database is decreased. What field I want to update? First one is the activity ID. It is available over here. The next one is activity status. I don't want to update it, but it is compulsory. Some of field you cannot remove, so don't worry about that and do not think about that. The next one is activity code. It is compulsory field. But next one is activity ID. Activity ID is option, but I need to import it. And the next one is duration. Let me to add original duration also, not in a date, in a duration. This is original duration. What other field I can add? Right now, this is the foundation of the project. The other field is not related to this item. So let me to continue with this field. If you are in the middle of project and you need to do some update for your project, the filter is help you a lot. If you want to use the filter, this is like your filter in the project. If you want to, for instance, use the filter for WBS, then the list of WBS in the project is available over here, and you can use the filtration based on your requirement. So the filter is powerful things over here and help you a lot, but at the suitable time. If you don't want to use the filtration, be careful. These items have a check mark. All activities. If you want to use the special sort, you can add it. So again, let me to check it. The field selected. After the field selected, the filtration check, sort item check. Right now, I can proceed. This is the selected Excel file, and I want to import it over here. That's it. My file is imported. I need to open it. Go to my desktop, on the new folder, special folder with name of file. I'm waiting for this folder to be opened. File, I mean. Then after each time, after you exported the file, you need to verify the field. Because maybe this is the P6 machine. Maybe it's not work properly, like previous time, I forced to restart it. So you need to do the verification. If you do the verification, it is very helpful for you, because if you have some extra field over here, it means that your database is not work properly. And as a result of that, you need to re-export the file. I export only 5 fields. Let me to check it. Activity ID, status, WBS code, activity name, and original duration. The next item is deleted this row. What's this? In the all of Primavera P6 database, if you want to delete some record from your file, you need to use the character over here. It is not important to it be capital or little, only works with the character. So you need to use the character. I want to delete this for activity because I want to implement my activity. So at this time, I need to start the data movement from this file to this one. How should I start? By use the copy paste, but at this time, I don't want to use each by each. You can select all of these and paste the data. Then for activity name, all the data selected. One of them not selected, so I assign it like this. For the WBS ID, because I I'm not create any WBS ID. Let me to use this one right now. This is activity status, but I have the mistake, made a mistake, and I need to shift it over here. The next one is original duration. Let me to select all the original duration, use the copy and paste the all original duration over here. But if you face it with these items, don't worry. You need to only change the type, for instance, to the general. Then it's works. What about these items? Activity status. You have three types of activity status in a Primavera P6. The first one is right over here, is not started. What the other activity status we have in a Primavera P6? Anyone know?
Yeah. Activity type, duration type.
No, it is activity status. How many activity status you have in a Primavera P6?
Started in progress.
Not started, in progress, and then when the activity is completed, it means completed. Okay? You can judge all activity status by three rules. It is works in an activity section or in a resource section. But right now, our project is baseline. Let me to do the copy paste for these activities and remove the extra information. My database is completed. I only need to recheck it and import it. I implement all activity IDs. I update all the activity status. Use the current WBS code for all activities. And for activity name, I use the source of information from that file and use all activity name from that file. And this is the original duration. So I need to use the same, but maybe you use some formula. For instance, instead of use the copy paste, I can write VLOOKUP over here and call the activity name by using VLOOKUP like this. So be careful if your file includes some formula, P6 cannot distinct that you need the result for this formula over here. If you import this file to the Primavera P6, the result for activity ID will be this formula instead of HVAC plumbing, clean agent system. Instead of this text, you will receive the formula in your tab. So each time, what's the solution? Each time you do the cleaning completely, you need to select all the available cells, right click, copy and paste them, all of them as a value. Then all the things change to the value and you can start the import. Let me to save this file and close it. And I come back to the Primavera P6. I go to the file, use the import by a spreadsheet, go for next, use the desktop and find the file. This is my updated file. Let me to select it and proceed for activity. Because my file is only include activity information, the software distinct that only activity tab included. So I only can select the activity tab. So right now I need to proceed and use. No other option is available over here, but you need to select your project because maybe more than one project is open right now. And finish waiting for software result. Look at this, deleting activities. It means that P6 first delete the first activity which I created before, then proceed for further action and import the activity. Right now, you can find that all the activity imported to the P6 instantly. Any question? So the next item for create, let me to continue with assign the bulk of activity to the WBS. You have too many, you can find too many videos in YouTube for WBS creation. But each of them have some special criteria and some rules. These are very useful videos, but most of the time I prefer to generate the WBS by P6 or create it by MSP and import it to the P6. It is very easy by use the combination of Microsoft Project and Primavera P6. But this WBS is not too much things. Let me to generate it over here. The first one is management. The second one is engineering. Third one is procurement. My procurement has one extra item is HVAC, and my engineering has 1, 2, 3, 4 items. 1, 2, 3, and 4 items. For this 4 items, for each of them, you can use the copy and paste. But at this time, this is the WBS ID I have here, and this is the WBS ID I have here. If I generate both of them like each other, then I can use it in a Primavera P6. How can I do it? I need to change it to the new, then it's gonna be for management new.1. But over here, I have 1.1. So if I'm gonna be replaced .1 by new.1, then both of WBS ID going to be equal. Let me to do this replacement. Control F, new, dot one. New dot replace with one dot should be replaced by new dot. Then I do the replacement. Right now, if you check it, in the management, I have new dot. The things is you need the WS ID same. New 3. But at this time, you need to extract the data again from a spreadsheet. Again, for WS works with activity section. So I go through the project, and I told you, you don't need to keep the unnecessary information because maybe you face it with problem. So let me to remove the original duration, but activity ID, let's to keep it because maybe it's guide us. No filtration and no special sort. Let me to proceed. And this is the section 2. I'm going to open the project. Exported file, I mean. But as you see, I have this sort of information. All the WBS code is new because I assign all the WBS code to all the activities to the project. So if I show it to you, it is my project without any WBS. If I'm going to group and sort and apply it, then you will find out this is my WBS without any activities. So let me to come back over here. In front of each activity ID, I have a WBS code. So I need to only update this field in a WBS code. I want to use the VLOOKUP, so let me to cut this column and use it over here. Then I will use the VLOOKUP and call new WBS code by activity ID. Like this. This is column index number 2. And this is the new WBS code for each of my activities. My implementation of WBS code is finished. Right now, I need to only cleaning the file. I have no extra information over here. So like a previous one, I need to use the copy and paste it as a value. Then it's finished. Need to close this file, save it, and let me to close this file also, and go to the P6, use the import by a spreadsheet. I need to find the file, go to the new folder. This is the section 2. Proceed for activity and import to this project, you should select it because maybe more than one project is open right now, and finish. Let's see what happened over here. The import result was successful. All the activities assigned to the proper WBS. You need to only assign the proper WBS code based on your database to your activity. Then implementation of database instantly done. Any question up to now? Okay. Because no one have a question, no one has a question, let me to proceed for resource assignment also for one of these resources. This is the budgeted unit for the resource 1, and this is the budgeted unit for resource 2. But if you look at this budgeted unit, it works for all the activities. If you compare it with my activity list, it's assigned to the all of activities, and it's assigned to the procurement section. So I open the project and go to the resource assignment. I have 2 resources over here. So I come back to the project, select the activities, right click, go to the assignment for the resources. I assign the resource 1 to all of the project and select the procurement activities and assign the resource number 2. Then you need to assign this budgeting to the project. How? This time you need to go to the file, export by a spreadsheet, and assign the resources and export it. You need to modify your template, but this time your template is related to the resource assignment. Activity ID, activity status, resource ID, rule ID, cost account, resource type, resource name, budgeted unit, actual unit, remaining unit, and at completion and unit percent complete is available over here. Because my project is a baseline, I want to remove actual, remaining, at complete, and unit percent complete. If my project is in progress, so you need to use these 4 fields also. For these items, pardon, for these items, you should check if any filtration unit, but the filtration is not work like activity filtration. It is work in a resource assignment. This is the field of resource assignment. So the field over here is related to the resource. Any sort, if you need, you can use it. But let me to press OK and proceed. And this time, this is section 3. I need to minimize this file, split the page, and open the I cancel this and open the correct file. As I told you before, after each extraction of data, you need to verify it. So activity ID, status, resource ID, role ID, cost account ID, resource type, resource name, budgeted unit, and delete this row. Delete this row is works when you want to remove some part of information from these items. But how I create this assignment? By assignment on the project, by assignment the resources to the project, then this table is completed. But I want to assign the budget based on my requirements, so I clean this cell and let me to freeze the pans over here. Then you need to add a filtration over here. And for assignment the resources, you need to do the assignment for each of resources. So I start by resource 1. This is the resource 1. Before I proceed, I should add something over here. Let me to use a special color for this line because I don't want to forget to remove it before import. I use the subtotal with function 9, and this is criteria for the subtotal. And let me to change it to the number. This is 1000 separate. Right now, this is for resource 1. If I use the VLOOKUP for this resource, then I select this activity ID, go to the activity ID. I'm going to the activity ID and then select the proper criteria from activity ID up to column number N. I have 13 columns. So I use the separator, use the 13, and this is my budgeted hours. Let me to use copy, select the criteria, select visible cell, then right click and paste the formula. This is my total resource assignment. What is the total budgeted resource up to here? Right now is 4,260. Let me to check it with this total. It is 4,260. Let me to write sum over here, summation of it's equal to 4,260. But for the resource number 2, I need to use again VLOOKUP. Use the VLOOKUP and select activity ID. Find the activity ID over here and continue the selection up to column 14. Use the comma, use 14 and paste it. Then you need to use the copy, select the criteria, use the visible cell and paste the data. As you see, I assign 3096 hours budget for the resource number 2. If you want to compare it with the resource number 2, it is 3096 hours budget allocated. So right now, I remove the filtration. I want to check the total budget overall. If I sum these two on, 7,312, like this one. So my budget assignment is finished. You need to select all the fields, use the copy and paste it. Then the formula remove, as you see, all the characters, change the value. I need to clean it, remove the extra information, use the zoom to find out if any extra information is available over here or not. Unfreeze the pans and save the file, close it. Then I need to again use the import for the spreadsheet, select the file, the new folder. This is the section 3 and select the wrong file, section 3 for the resource assignment. And I should select the project because maybe more than one project is open and finish it. Did not successfully see the log. Let me to open the log. Okay, and let me to check the total budgeted unit. This is non-labor. Okay, my total assignment is correct. That is how you can assign the budgeted unit to your project. First, we discuss for activity creation. Then we assign the bulk of activity to the WBS in a section 2. And in a section 3, we assign the hours to each of activities. If you want to learn more about P6-Excel, you can contact with me over WhatsApp or in a Telegram. Then we can discuss how you can join to the course. This is all about this session. If anyone has a question, please open your microphone and let's discuss about the things.
Yeah, Ahmed sir, actually one query.
Yes, please.
Actually, if we are adding the resources, you have in this project, we have only 2 resources, R1, R2.
Yes.
If I have the multiple resources like more than 100 or like 200, like that means,
yes,
I have to import resources in the resources tab. How can I import those against the project? How can I import the resources? That is first question.
How you can import the resources instead of creating assigned like what I did like this, okay? You can export the project for the resource assignment. You can export it. These fields are good for these items. And let me to section 4. This is my activities in the project. Agree?
Yeah.
If you want to assign, for instance, the resource to this activity, you need to create a line for this activity like this. Okay, let me to mark it. All the information and freeze it over here. All the information according to the title should be implemented. Look at this. This is the activity status. I want to assign other resources. Okay. This is not a started activity, but what is the resource ID? Let me to go to the P6. This is the resource ID. I'm gonna be assigned the resource R-L3, okay? Right now it is not assigned. This is no resource, okay?
So,
No cost.
sir, this one is okay. This I understand. But what
Okay.
my question is, in the resources sheet, no?
You want
We
to
already, yeah, in the resources sheet, we already having the R-L1, L2, L3.
yes.
But I want to implement up to 100, R200. How can I do? That is my question.
It is not possible with import to the P6. You need to use SDK, software development kit.
Oh, okay.
It is not possible in P6-Excel.
So I have to enter each one in the resources. Is it right? No?
You only by this spreadsheet you can call the resources. Okay, but
Yeah.
if the resource is not available on your database, you need to create.
Yeah, that is my question. How can we? There is no way, no, to implement more than
no solution. No solution.
Yeah.
But P6-Excel, no solution.
Okay, that is my question. Now I understand.
Okay.
Then what about this? Actually, the total subtotal when you are doing, you used the 9, no? The number 9. What is the purpose we use the 9?
9 is a sum. You know that. This is the. Let me to convert these items to the number. Okay. Then I use the filter and add equal to subtotal. Okay. If you use subtotal is interactive formula in Excel which help you to use this function interactively. Look at this. I use sum and I select the criteria for sum. Okay, like this. And I'm going to use it to the number. Okay. Then I use the copy and paste the info in the same cell, but I change it to the sum instead of subtotal. Okay, both of them with the normal situation has equal result. Yeah. But if I go through the filtration, I want to know that what is the total of resource 1. Then the result of subtotal is changed based on my selection criteria. But the sum cannot distinct that I use the filter. Subtotal works based on your filtration. It is interactive formula, but sum cannot consider your filtration. It is the fixed formula. That is why I use subtotal instead of sum. Is it clear?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I have some message. Please provide the link to access to the record session as I face network issue while Okay, sure. Text me. I will send you the video file. Text me over WhatsApp.
Excuse me,
Yes, please.
is there any way that we can do the relationship in a simple way, not in the P6? Or we have to do it all manually in the P6?
No, it is applicable in this table. One of these items is related to the export, and by a spreadsheet, you can use the activity relationship. By activity relationship, you can select many of information related to the relationship. Look at this. This is the activity status, successor activity status, predecessor status, relationship type, what is the successor, what is the predecessor. If you need a date for successor, start, finish, and if you want to know that what is the successor WBS or predecessor WBS, you can add it over here. For implementation of the link over table instead of P6, you can use this item. This is the section 5. But as you see, I have no relationship over here because I need to create it based on this table. You need to implement this table based on your activity ID. For instance, I want to connect my start as a predecessor to the, for instance, HVAC as a successor. My relationship type is a finish to start. My predecessor activity status is not started. My successor is not started. I want to add 10-day lag, but you need to correct this to general, and predecessor WBS and successor WBS, you should find it. The start is related to the, let me to find it. The start is over here in the management. So I should add new.1, new.1, and for successor WBS, it is under datasheet. Yes, it is under datasheet. Let me to find it over here. It is my successor WBS. And that's it. You should implement this information to your table. Then you need to save it. Copy, paste. And import it. But it is a little bit tricky and complex. If you want to implement all the information, it is very useful if you use the P6 framework for these items. because look at this, it's connected to the start. But for some of
Thank
things,
you.
you're welcome. It is better to use P6 framework because if you work with these items, maybe you face it with some problem. But it is very useful when you want to track the changes. And one of our targets for this course is track the changes. In the lesson 5, I thought I will show you how you can do the track changes. Lesson 4. Track relationship changes. If you receive some XCR files from your colleague, from your subcontractor, anywhere, and you have another XCR file, they inform you, this is my log, and you look at the file and you find out something's changed in this file. How you want to track the changes? It is not possible for you to track the changes in activity, in a relationship, in a lag, lead, everything. You cannot track the changes manually. If you have only 100 activity, you should check, for instance, 200 relationship in your project. This takes too much time. So by this trick, easy trick, you can track the changes in this solution. But this export works when you want to do the track changes. It is not very useful when you want to use it as a things for import the relationship. It is very useful when you want to track the changes for this. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? Okay, my friend. If no one have a question, no one has a question, let me to thank you for your attending and this online session. If anyone needs to receive this video file, ping me on a WhatsApp. And if you don't have my WhatsApp, go to the chat and write your link on a WhatsApp or link on WhatsApp. You're welcome, my friend, to send you this video link. This video will be shared on my YouTube in the next week with all the material, with all backup file. But if you need to receive it earlier, send me a text over WhatsApp. Have a great time, my friend, and thank you for your attendance at this session. Hope to see you soon on the next session. I hope this lesson is useful for you. Please keep in touch with my LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for further lesson. Also, you can visit my website www.globalprojectcontrol.com in order to find all of my lesson and courses in the same time. Thank you for your subscription at my YouTube channel.